Other big story in this hour is Bitcoin. It has exceeded $100,000 US per coin for the first time ever. We're joined now by Elliott Stein at Bloomberg Intelligence for a discussion of just that. Elliott, thank you very much for joining us. This looks like a reaction from the marketplace on a nomination made by President-elect Donald Trump. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think a lot of what you're seeing in the market reflects optimism by the industry, the crypto industry most recently, that the incoming Trump administration will take a much less aggressive approach to regulation and enforcement actions, particularly in the crypto space, and with the nomination or the intended nomination of Paul Atkins to lead the SEC, that just reinforces what the market was already thinking with Trump winning the election in November.
Do you have a view on how tightly cryptocurrency should be regulated? Gary Gensler, the outgoing SEC chair, has I guess, a very different view than the incoming person does.
Yeah, I think what you saw under Gensler's leadership at the SEC was what the industry essentially called regulation by enforcement. So with respect to crypto, you didn't get regulations or rules that provided clarity to the industry. Instead, you saw a lot of enforcement actions against companies like Coinbase and Binance and Kraken. Most recently, these are crypto platforms that the SEC was going after. So I think you're going to see a wholesale different approach under the SEC when Atkins takes over. And you'll see a lot of these enforcement actions probably go on pause. A lot of them may be settled or dropped completely. If they're settled, they'd be settled on terms favorable to the industry. I think you'll probably also see more clarity in terms of either legislation from Congress in the crypto space and or rules or regulations from the SEC that give crypto companies, rules of the road for what needs to be registered with the SEC and what needs to be registered with the CFTC.
As when Paul Atkins goes to the Senate for confirmation hearings, do you expect a significant amount of debate on how tightly crypto should be regulated, or in a Republican-dominated Senate committee, would you expect them to approve of Paul Atkins' orientation here?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much pushback on him getting confirmed. He was an SEC commissioner previously in the early 2000s under the Bush administration. And, he's highly qualified. He's highly respected, I think, by both sides of the aisle. So I don't see any problems arising with him getting confirmed. As to whether, crypto will be the focus of his confirmation hearings, I think it'll be part of it, but there's so many other things that the SEC touches, and the Gensler-led SEC has really been very aggressive on a lot of rulemaking outside of the crypto space in terms of climate disclosures and market structure and private funds. A lot of these are in litigation. A lot of these rules have been struck down by the courts, such as the private funds rule. But other rules are still mired in the courts, like the climate disclosure rule. So I think all these things will come up at his confirmation hearing.
Elliott.